What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another training vlog video where I'm here to talk through all of the training I'm doing to prepare for Ironman Texas coming up in April of 2026. Big news this week, I am back on a training plan with my coach who I've been working with for many years. The last 6 weeks, I've actually been coaching myself and also navigating the challenges of training in a totally different environment. As you may know by watching these videos, I have been in Connecticut visiting family for the last couple of weeks, but this week I am back making my first video here in Houston. It's been a great week of training, getting back into things here, and I'm ready to talk about it. So today I'm going to go through how the last 2 weeks of training went because I missed last week's video. Then we're going to talk about the week ahead and also another sprint triathlon race coming up this Sunday, the Cypress Sprint Triathlon World Championship. So let's dive right in and get caught up on the last few weeks. Going to move through it pretty quickly here. Starting out the beginning of my last week in Connecticut, I was really feeling pretty tired. Like I was coaching myself. I had done a lot of good training. I got about 6 hours on the bike the week before. And ultimately, I felt like it was time for a little bit of a recovery week. And again, since I'm coaching myself, it's all a little bit sort of like just going based by feel. On Monday, I took mostly a day off and just did a little bit of hiking. On Tuesday, I did a very easy 50-minute ride and then followed up with the strength training program that I've been on. I have not missed a single strength training workout with the WUCAR cycling strength program, 12-week program. So I've been on track with that as well. On Wednesday, got back to the pool at the YMCA, did about 30 minutes in the water, just checking that box, making sure I'm keeping moving in the water. And I did a nice easy run on Wednesday as well. Just thinking to myself, this is probably the last run with hills I'm gonna have, those sort of like, the last swim, the last run, those type of feelings were kind of bubbling up after I had such a great couple of weeks training in Connecticut. So on to Thursday morning, I did like a really small brick. It was kind of raining out and I didn't really want to take too many risks on my last ride. So just did a quick 30-minute and then a quick like less than 10-minute run on Thursday and got ready to travel on Friday. My flight on Friday wasn't until the afternoon, so I went back to the pool in the morning, got one last swim done, one more strength training session as well to round out the week, and hopped on the plane. Saturday morning's run in the Houston heat was an eye-opener. Definitely an eye-opener. I had done 8 miles the previous weekend. Didn't really think I was going to go out and do any type of a long run. Really just wanted to feel the heat, and boy was it hot. I mean, just the difference in the humidity and the heat and everything was huge. I ended up doing about 3 miles, 1 mile at a time, lots of walk breaks, did some pull-ups and push-ups as well on Saturday, and really just started to sort of acclimate by spending that much time outdoors, Also did a lot of lawn work on Saturday. Like my yard was a mess. Like I hadn't really had a chance to, obviously I was gone for several weeks. So between the running and the mowing the lawn and weed eating and everything, I got a lot of heat on Saturday. Sunday morning, first ride back in Texas, went out with the training group I ride with all the time here and just kept it really, really easy. I didn't get out in front of the ride at all, so I was drafting behind other cyclists the entire time. It was my first opportunity to get back into the aero position, which I hadn't done for a number of weeks on my road bike. And ultimately, even though I was eager to hit the ground running and trying to push, I'm really glad that I just sort of took it easy, rode with the group, and like I said, I didn't even spend any time pulling in front of the group. I just took it very easy. So that brought me to this week. This week of training has been exciting because I was actually able to meet up with my coach and get back onto a training plan. I went to the pool on Monday before meeting with my coach, and I had what I thought was probably one of the best swims that I've done in weeks. I think I was just really feeling fired up to be sort of back here, back home. Wanted to really, give it a good effort to try to swim, with a little bit of intensity. And I did like 5 50s, 10 100s, and then 5 more 50s. I kept all of them right around that 130 pace, which for me is sort of like a benchmark. I've definitely been in swimming shape where I can swim a little bit faster than 130. But in my previous race that I did a couple of weeks ago, I had a very poor swim in my opinion. So I'm really trying to push myself to get back in that 130 per 100 yard sort of mindset. And I was off to a good start with that swim last week. Tuesday was the last day I was coaching myself. I met with my coach on Monday, and he didn't actually get me structured workouts until Wednesday morning. So on Tuesday, I decided to hop on Zwift and just kind of scroll through the workouts there, and I decided to do it in erg mode. And honestly, I really enjoyed it. I really kicked my own butt on this ride. It was an over-under type workout, and the way that the trainer really just held my power at whatever the workout was calling for was really exciting. Was whimpering and suffering even though it was only a 47-minute ride, but I really sort of ripped the Band-Aid off on that one. Talking about ripping the Band-Aid off, my first run back with my coach was really challenging, and the main takeaway that he had after our meeting was that I really needed to get out and start getting my foot turnover going and running faster than I had been over the previous few weeks in an effort to prepare for the sprint triathlon coming up this weekend. So he gave me a workout. It was 8 by 2 minutes at 5K effort with a full 2-minute recovery. And I was definitely a little nervous going into it. Like I had not really pushed myself like that in quite a while. But I'm really happy to report that I was able to do all of those 2-minute sets. Right around 6:15 per mile was the pace that I ended up going for most of them. Some of them a little bit slower, some of them, none of them faster. They're all right in between about 6:15 per mile and 6:20 per mile. And for me, that's fantastic because that is about 20 to 30 seconds faster per mile than I was able to run in my last sprint distance race. So I'm out there, I'm working on getting my foot turnover going, working on getting that speed back, and that workout definitely affected me. The next day, on Thursday, moving into my strength training on Thursday, my legs felt totally fried. I was able to get through the strength training on Thursday. There were a lot of step-ups involved. I was stepping up and down with some weights, and oh my gosh, I got on my bike afterwards and just soft pedaled for about 10 miles, and I could tell at that point that my legs were just pretty cooked, a lot more cooked than usual because I haven't been running that hard in weeks. But was confident that I was ready for it. I told my coach I was ready for it, so I did my best to just sort of stay patient and not freak out. I have a tendency to sort of feel very sore and then get sort of anxious about it, but I was able to sort of get into Friday with an open mind. Hey, it's going to be tough getting started again. Ended up swimming at the neighborhood pool. I wasn't aware that it was open for residents, but I hopped in, got a quick 20-minute swim done, and now that I know that that pool is open for residents, I will be hitting it up a lot more in the next couple of weeks. On to Saturday's run. Again, this is still like the fourth day of working with my coach again, and right off the bat, we had that run on Wednesday, 8 by 2 minutes at 5K pace, and then here we are on Saturday with an hour and 10-minute endurance run, including three 3/4 mile efforts at that 5K pace. So back to that same effort that I had done on Wednesday, except this time I was running for about 5 minutes at a time rather than 2. I was not able to go quite as fast as my 2-minute intervals were on Wednesday, but still a solid, I believe around 6:30 per mile on most of them. So actually there's only 3 here, so let's just check out how they went. That first one I ran at 6:35 pace, and then I had 6:27 pace, and then I had 6:36 pace. So a little bit slower than Wednesday's. However, those paces are still faster than when I was able to do at my last sprint distance race. So if I'm able to get my speed up to that amount, get that fast on race day, I'm going to be real happy. So I'm not going to get bent out of shape about, being 15 seconds off of, my target pace for that workout. Really just doing my best and also just dealing with the heat. The last 2 miles of that run, so after the intervals, Definitely struggling to keep my heart rate under control at easy paces. After about 45 minutes in the heat, I'm definitely struggling to get my heart rate to calm back down. But I think that really is something I've been through before plenty of times. It's just this acclimatization process, getting used to the heat. And then yesterday, got out on the bike and had what I consider my first sort of proper workout on the road on my time trial bike. And the workout was very simple. It called for an hour and 10 minutes at zone 3 steady state. I wasn't quite able to get 90 minutes of zone 3 in, but I wasn't able to get 110 minutes. That's about what would that be? Like almost 2 hours. So like an hour and 50 minutes. Wasn't able to quite get that much in, but I did get a really solid 90-minute interval in at zone 3 power. Averaged 249 watts for just under 90 minutes. And I was very, very pleasantly surprised on that ride. I gotta say that honestly, I'm in week 9 of this strength training block that I've been doing, and I really felt like the strength training showed up on that ride I did yesterday. It's a little bit hard to put to words. I'll try to explain, but it almost felt like, the muscles that had been so sore on Friday, for example, including my glutes, my hamstrings, just the whole sort of behindness of my legs and upper butt and even into my back. I really could feel that part of my body just being able to sort of push and pull on the pedals with a little bit more sort of like heft and authority. And I also felt like my core was able to just more comfortably brace against this extra pushing and pulling that I'm feeling in my legs. And I have to, it's only my first ride, and it's only 8 weeks of this strength training. So I'm not saying, wow, I feel like night and day difference, but I definitely feel a step in the right direction. Like 260 watts felt a lot less challenging. It was almost like my body was able to do it without me having to will power through it as much. It was like less brain power and more body power, and therefore it felt easier. That's the best way I can explain the difference that I've felt doing this 8 weeks of strength training and also spending some time on my road bike and then coming back into my training zones, into my time trial position. I was pleasantly surprised. Like the first 20 minutes in zone 3 felt very good. And I was thinking that, we'll see how I feel after an hour. Like I'm not going to just say, hey, oh, this is great, because the first 20 minutes went well. But then an hour later, even the final 15 minutes of that 90, I felt really solid. And then the other thing that was very encouraging is my heart rate didn't even really drift into my zone 3 heart rate. I really stayed right in the middle of my zone 2 heart rate despite pushing that heavier zone 3 power. I really feel like I could probably ride higher up in my zone 3 power range next time I have a workout like this and see if my heart rate can drift up to get a little bit more of that desired training effect, spend a little bit more time in that elevated heart rate. But I am thrilled with how that first 90-minute zone 3 effort felt, and I'm really hoping, fingers crossed, that I can continue to feel this strength moving forward. So speaking of moving forward, let's take a quick look at this week's training coming up. Today I went back to the pool, had another good swim, was able to keep my pace around 131, 132 per 100 for the whole duration. Definitely happy about that. Tomorrow's bike ride, I am going back into that zone 3 power zone on my bike. 40 minutes of zone 3 steady state tomorrow on the ride. I was able to do, like I said, around 250 watts zone 3 on Sunday. I'm going to probably try to shoot for 265 or 270 watts for that 40-minute effort and see if I can get that under my belt as well. And then off of that ride, I have a 20-minute brick run, easy out and marathon pace back. I should also mention that after that 90-minute ride I did yesterday, I also had a 20-minute brick run, and that was also surprisingly well handled by my body, especially coming off the run the day before. I'm feeling so sore. I was a little concerned about it, but showed up and gave it my best shot, and my body responded very well. So another brick workout tomorrow, and then Wednesday I've got some more speed work to do. I am totally, how do I say this? I'm very excited to be working with my coach again, because I'm just, the idea that I don't have to decide what to do and I just have to execute. I'm totally into that. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm totally down to just go and execute the workouts as my coach is providing me, and just free up some of that brain space that I was spending on trying to figure out what to do, and instead just try to apply that to the training. Speed workout on Wednesday is a familiar one. It's a ladder type workout, 400 meters, 600, 800, 1000 meters at 10K effort, and then 800, 600, 400 at 5K effort. So you speed up a little bit towards the end there. But I'm excited to go do that to get ready for the race on Sunday. The next couple days of training are nice and easy, because again, I'm racing on Sunday, so I'm not too surprised that my coach has me sort of tapering off a little bit. So easy 40-minute spin on Thursday, strength training on Thursday, 30 minutes in the pool on Friday as prescribed, and then a 30-minute easy run as well. Working into a day off, complete day off on Saturday, and getting me ready to go for the next day, the Cypress Sprint Triathlon World Championship. The reason I'm calling it the World Championship is because the race director put out some pictures of like the merch, or not the merch, like the swag from the race, and all of it says Cypress Triathlon World Championship on it. And like, I am so, I think that's such a great idea, like just from like a marketing perspective, just from like a fun perspective. Not to mention that the race is also a very competitive sprint distance race. I mean, I last I saw, there were almost 400 athletes signed up for this sprint race. That's a big difference compared to the Sylvan Beach race. I did that June 8th, was able to come in third place overall, and that was a field of about 160 athletes. So going into the weekend, excited to race hundreds of other athletes across a sprint distance race. Very excited to see if I can maybe push a little bit more power on the bike, because I have been trying to get stronger. I'll do my best to put out more power on the bike than last time. And then moving on to the run, you never know what's going to happen, but I am positive and focused and optimistic that I'm able to get off the bike and run well. And then we'll see where it shakes out. I think I might have a shot at that top 10, might have a shot at the top 5. You know, you never know. Things could really come together. I might be looking at another, overall Masters or age group podium position. I feel like there's a lot of different, categories that I can compete in now that I am a Masters athlete officially. So that just makes my race even more exciting, just knowing that there are multiple different ways that I can, celebrate my fitness and, be recognized for the effort on the day. So, little bit of a longer video. I'm hopeful to be back on this week by week sort of pattern that I've been getting into. I've been straying from that pattern lately. Hoping to get back onto the every Monday thing. I'll have a little bit less to talk about each week, and I really appreciate you tuning in as usual. If there's anything you'd want to know about my training, or anything you'd like to add to the discussion that I'm having here, please go ahead and drop that in the comments. And whether you do so or not, I do appreciate you taking a look at the video. Special shout out to the subscribers here as usual, and I will hopefully see you next Monday or the day after on Tuesday with a update about how the race went at the Cypress Sprint World Championship. All right, thank you. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.